where does history come from? I mean, who wrote it down? For Islamic history, where are the original sources? You've probably heard names like Tabari, Ibn Kathir, or Ibn Khaldun. These aren't just random names. They are the giants, the architects who built the foundation of Islamic history. But how did it all begin? Let's uncover the real story of how Muslims built the world's first knowledge empire. Right after the passing of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The early leaders didn't feel the need to write history. Why would they? Everyone was living it. The stories, the lessons, the events, they were common knowledge, passed down directly from those who were there. But as time went on, the companions of the Prophet, the living sources of this history, started passing away. A wise caliph, Umar bin Abdul Aziz, saw a crisis looming. He realized that if they didn't act fast, this precious history could be lost forever. So, he initiated one of the most important projects in Islamic history, the preservation of knowledge. To lead this monumental task, Umar bin Abdul Aziz chose a brilliant scholar named Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. He became the first person officially tasked with collecting, verifying, and teaching the history of Islam. Al-Zuhri wasn't just a collector. He was a master teacher. His classroom produced some of the most influential scholars of the next generation, including two pivotal figures, Ibn Ishaq and Imam Malik. These students would go on to shape the very course of Islamic scholarship, one focusing on history and the other on law and hadith. This was the spark that would soon ignite a golden age. After the Umayyad dynasty, a new power rose in the east. The Abbasids had a passion, an obsession, even for knowledge. They weren't just conquerors. They were builders of civilization. They founded a magnificent new capital, the circular city of Baghdad. And at its heart, they established something the world had never seen before. The Beit al-Hikmah, the House of Wisdom. This wasn't just a library. It was a translation center, a university, and a research institute, all in one, the world's first true knowledge hub. It was in this vibrant intellectual environment that al-Zuhri's student Ibn wrote the Sirat Rasul, Allah, the first comprehensive biography of the Prophet Muhammad, laying the groundwork for all future historical works. But how did this knowledge revolution spread so quickly? The secret ingredient was paper. For centuries, knowledge was recorded on expensive parchment or papyrus, making books a rare luxury. But a pivotal moment changed everything. In a battle against the Tang dynasty of China, the Muslims captured soldiers who knew a revolutionary secret, the art of paper making. This technology was the Caliph Harun al-Rashid, seeing its potential, established the world's first major paper mill right in Baghdad. Suddenly, producing books became cheap and easy. Knowledge, once confined to the elite, exploded across the Muslim world. This was the fuel that powered the Islamic Golden Age. With paper readily available, an entire industry of scholarship boomed. Historians emerged, each contributing a vital piece to the puzzle of the past. A student of Ibn Ishaq, named Ibn Hisham, edited and preserved his teacher's work, ensuring the earliest history of Islam survived for us today. Then came scholars like Al-Waqidi and his student, Ibn Sa'd, who meticulously documented the lives of thousands of the Prophet's companions, creating detailed biographical dictionaries that are still referenced. But the most ambitious project was yet to come. Imam al-Tabari, a Persian scholar in Baghdad, decided to write a history of the entire world, starting from the Prophet Adam, peace be upon him, all the way to his own time, during the Abbasid rule. His colossal work, Tariq al-Tabari, or the History of Prophets and Kings, became the single most important source for early Islamic history. He didn't just give his own narrative. He presented different accounts of the same event from various sources, letting the reader see the full picture. The tradition continued with giants like Ibn Asakir of Damascus, a teacher so revered that the great Salahuddin Ayyubi himself attended his lectures. Another historian, Ibn al-Afir, chronicled the victories of Salahuddin against the Crusaders and gave a chilling first-hand account of the terrifying Mongol invasion that was looming on the horizon. Following him was Ibn Kathir, whose masterpiece, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, or The Beginning and the End, tells the story of creation itself through the prophets and up to his time, even touching upon prophecies of the end of days. And then there was a mind so brilliant, he wasn't just recording history, he was analyzing it. Ibn Khaldun, writing from North Africa, penned this Muqaddimah. This wasn't just a book of history. It was the world's first book on sociology, economics, and the philosophy of history. He studied the rise and fall of civilizations, looking for patterns and universal laws. He was centuries ahead of his time, a true genius of the Muslim world. But this golden age of knowledge was not destined to last forever. In 1258, a catastrophe struck. The Mongol armies, led by Hulagu Khan, swept across the land and laid siege to the magnificent city of Baghdad. After the city fell, they unleashed a wave of destruction unlike anything the world had ever seen. They targeted the heart of the civilization, the house of wisdom. Millions of books, the collective knowledge of generations, were thrown into the Tigris River. It is said that the ink from the books turned the river black for days. This wasn't just the destruction of a city. It was the symbolic death of an era. The Black River represented the light of knowledge being extinguished. While the Muslim world was reeling from this devastation, a quiet shift was happening in Europe. Having learned the art of paper making from Muslims in Spain and Sicily, Europeans were on the cusp of their own revolution. A German inventor named Gutenberg perfected the printing press. Suddenly, books could be mass-produced on an unprecedented scale. But here, a tragic mistake was made. When the printing press was introduced to the Ottoman Empire, religious scholars, fearing it would corrupt the sacred text of the Quran, declared it haram or forbidden for Muslims to use for religious texts. This fatwa effectively banned printing in the Muslim world for nearly 300 years, while Europe was entering an age of mass information and scientific discovery. The Muslim world had shut the door on the very technology that would define the modern era. This was arguably the biggest strategic blunder in Muslim history. For centuries, Muslims had been the world's leaders in science, medicine, and philosophy. But they gave up their lead. While Europe was building universities and printing thousands of books on science and exploration, the great Muslim empires were building magnificent palaces and mosques focusing on art and architecture instead of scientific advancement. By the time they realized their mistake and finally embraced the printing press 3 centuries later, it was too late. The gap had become a chasm. The world had changed, and Muslims had gone from leading it to following it. So what's the lesson in all of this? The story of the Islamic Golden Age is a powerful reminder. It was the pursuit of knowledge from all sources that lifted a desert people to become leaders of the world's first global knowledge empire. And it was the loss of that passion for knowledge that led to their decline. The story isn't just about the past, it's a blueprint for the future. If Muslims ever hope to see another golden age, it won't be built with grand palaces, but by rebuilding that foundational love for learning, curiosity, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey through history insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that uncover the hidden chapters of our world. See you in the next one.